Audio Jungle.
Police sergeant dies in Mandeville crash. A police sergeant is dead and 3 children, including his twin sons, are now in hospital following a two-vehicle collision on the Winston Jones Highway in Mandeville on Sunday. The policeman's identity was confirmed to reporters, however, it has not yet been officially released by the police. Preliminary reports are that about 2:30 p.m., the policeman was driving a silver Honda Fit motor vehicle when the vehicle veered into the path of the truck laden with cattle, resulting in a collision. The crash happened near the entrance of the Jam gas service station. A security guard from a nearby establishment told reporters that he helped 2 of the 3 injured children. Police quickly responded to the scene and escorted a pickup truck transporting the then injured cop to the hospital. However, he was pronounced dead at hospital while the children were admitted. EOJ completes final count of ballots for 62 constituencies. St. Mary's Southeastern counting continues. The Electoral Office of Jamaica (EOJ) has completed the final count of ballots cast in the general election for 62 constituencies. The counting of ballots continued in St. Mary's Southeastern, with approximately 13% of ballot boxes remaining. The count is being conducted by the returning officer in the presence of the candidates and/or their representatives. In the meantime, EOJ says it is aware of the public utterances and graphic posts on social media perpetrating false information about the transportation of ballot boxes and the counting of ballots, and claims of being that from EOJ sources. It notes that they include unfounded claims of missing and uncounted ballot boxes, as well as gross inaccurate number of spoiled ballots in one constituency. The EOJ reiterates that the preliminary counting of ballots took place in the presence of indoor agents representing at least 2 candidates or political parties, and in some cases, in the presence of election observers. It underscores that ballot boxes were accompanied by the indoor agents and escorted by the police to the counting centers. The EOJ emphasizes that all 7,294 general election ballot boxes and all 109 local government by-election ballot boxes have been accounted for, and ballots were and are being counted at the final count of the counting centers in the presence of candidates and/or their representatives. The EOJ further outlines that candidates who wish to lodge complaints or objections are asked to use the legal channel of recourse available. It also advises that erroneous information on social media and in other spaces only serves to undermine democracy, and urge members of the public to desist from posting and sharing false information. Persons are being reminded to be cautious of their sources of information and are strongly cautioned against sharing or relying on such misinformation. Land lost loyalty. Raw emotions surged through Portland Eastern days after the general election, with People's National Party (PNP) supporters and some independents declaring emphatically that the rejection of Anne-Marie Valls was in their best interests. Attorney Atullah Buchanan, the PNP candidate narrowly unseated the JLP's Valls, the immediate former Member of Parliament, securing 8,316 votes in the preliminary count to Valls' 8,181 in an election marked by land tenure concern and socio-economic challenges. Despite its reputation for peaceful living, lush scenery, and vibrant green tourism, and undercurrents of tension grippled the era of Friday, rooted in long-standing local grievances and the narrow electoral result. Most people, you see, them say if Labour right win, them a go take off of them land. So that in them mind, them have the in the system, say Labour right always take people off a land. JLP supporter Fleming told reporter on Friday. Seated on a chair on the south shoulder of the long road finishing up a meal, Fleming revealed that he is a squatter, pointing to land directly across from him, which he said has been occupied for more than 2 decades undisturbed. He was struck by disbelief and disappointment when the votes were tallied 2 days early on September 3rd and votes fell short of 135 ballots. Action and work too hard for them voter out because most of the roads in here are she fix it. You see where me live is a captured land. So we have issues about land, but nobody come to say and see we and say move from there, he stated. PNP winning this era on the land issue because them say them are going to give them land. But I'm saying Labour right now, PNP, never trouble for the land or runway. But because PNP know they can't win with the land, them always come and say, okay, those with land issues, we're going to deal with it, Fleming stated. The PNP has promised in its manifesto to amend the limitations of Action Acts, reducing the 60-year requirement for squatters to claim land to 25 years. Meanwhile, the JP pledged to distribute 25,000 land titles annually through a new systematical land registration program. At Buchanan's campaign based in Port Antonio, several supporters expressed determination to remove walls, seeing Buchanan's victory as a beacon of hope for resolving the persistent land issues. This is a PNP column for more than 30 years, so we couldn't allow them jail P for rule we. One of the biggest problem we have, them want to take away the whole away a seaside. Even right in front of Gungle Lane, a man there for 60 years, I made him talk yesterday and him say it's hard for him to be there for 60 years and somebody will come get it because them give him notice to move. Everybody upon the seaside get notice, even the craft market. They want to take it away, say Andrew Scott, a middle-aged man who was seated among the group of people. For Aquino, a young man seated among them appeared to be no older than 30. A vote for Voss would be a vote against his interests. For him and others, they felt threatened and were unable to shake the feeling that they were losing their hometown to special interests in the shadows. People like to have a sense of ownership. When you're going to try and root up people from the type of feeling, people are going to fight back, and that is what reached them, he said, with support from Scott and a middle-aged woman who gave her name as Miss Brown. According to Scott, it is Buchanan's defense of persons at the Boston Jerk Center where operations continue at the popular food spot. In October 2024, the Port and Health Services ordered the closure of the center amid reported issues with some food vendors that required various interventions. Dr. Sharon Lewis, Medical Officer of Health for Portland, said there were improvements after the interventions, but noted that they were short-lived. On September 6 last year, 3 of the 4 drug stores were closed due to breaches, while the other was closed a few weeks later. Them do everything for run with the people them. Them tell you say, them get list, you get it. Them come back and the next list the next day. Every time you meet up with them have a next thing for you. So that means say, them a get rid of you, you know. It's Buchanan make the people them get back Boston, Scott stated. They decried the absence of long-established Boston Jerk and Music Festival put on by businessman and former PNP caretaker for Portland Eastern, Colin Bell, which is customarily held in July. Brown, who tried in as a group defendant for a decision to vote against Voss, said for many, the festival served as a source of income, which funded back-to-school expenses for many families. It's the first year in Port Antonio we don't have Jerk Festival. We don't get the permit for the festival. You know how many money Eastport and lose? People would have money now circulating in Eastport land and sending their kids back to school. People borrow money from the bank. Everybody depend upon this thing, Brown explained. In the first No Drug Festival, because it's not benefiting her. No, she doesn't own Eastport land. She had to come down, she stated. She said Bell promotes the festival overseas, drawing tourists to the constituency to occupy small hotels, guest houses, and Airbnbs generating income. Nothing happened. The parish dry because of the Member of Parliament. No drug festival. Every Member of Parliament have to give us road, water and light. That is a necessity. The road was here before her, Brown said, rejecting the social media narrative that a hardworking Voss was voted out of office by ungrateful constituents. To subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.